Hello dear viewers, welcome to today's English class of BD24 online school. Today I am Shahidul Islam with you. After describing 4 classic tragedies of William Shakespeare, we are moving on to some world famous comedies of Shakespeare. So, for the first one, we have chosen the famous comedy of William Shakespeare, The Merchant of Venice. Let me tell you the characters of this play at first. The man after whom the play is named The Merchant of Venice is none other than Antonio. He has 3 friends. Among them, Bassanio is the closest one. The other 2 are Graziano and Lorenzo. We also find the Countess of Belmont, Portia, and her waiting woman, who is Nerissa. And in the play, we find the arch-villain or the antagonist, who is Shylock, and his daughter, Jessica. There are some minor characters as well, like the Duke of Venice, the Prince of Morocco and Aragon, etc. So, after knowing the characters, let's start the storytelling of the play. At the beginning of the play, we find that Antonio, after whom the play is named, is not in a jolly mood. He is quite upset, he is quite sad, but we don't know why he is upset. So, his friends, who are Graziano and Lorenzo, they try to cheer him up, but they can't cheer him up. So what happens? Bassanio, who is the closest to Antonio, he appears and he comes with some problems. He is in need of some money, like 3,000 ducats, but he is unable to provide the money for himself. So he appears to Antonio in order to take the money as a loan from Antonio. But Antonio, though he is a wealthy person, but all his money are in sea ventures. He can't help Bassanio. But what he does, as a friend, he tells Bassanio that he can take the money as a loan from anyone and he can use the good name of Antonio in Venice. So, what Bassanio does? He reaches to Shylock, who is famous for giving money to people, the Jewish moneylender Shylock. And Shylock, he has some grudges against Antonio, and he takes it as an opportunity when Bassanio says that Antonio will be the grantor of the money. So Shylock, what he does, he uses his wit, his cunningness to make a plot that, okay, I will give you, Bassanio, the money, but you have to sign a bond in which it will be written that if Bassanio fails to give the money, he will take a pound of flesh from Antonio's body. So such is the plot. So what happens? When Antonio he learns about the plot that if Bassanio fails to give the money back, Shylock will take a pound of flesh from Antonio's body. He readily agrees in a jolly mood. So Shylock he gives the money to Bassanio. So what happens? Why Bassanio needs the money? Basically, he is in love with the Countess of Belmont, whose name is Portia. And Portia's father is dead. Her father is no more, and her father, he has made a plan for the marriage of his own daughter. He has placed 3 caskets, one of gold, one of silver, and one of base lead. And among these 3 caskets, there is a portrait of Portia. And whoever finds the portrait first will be the husband of Portia. So suitors are coming from all around the world because she was famous for her beauty. She was famous. So suitors were coming. Such suitors were the Prince of Morocco and the Prince of Aragon. They also reaches to Belmont in order to take the hand of Portia as their wives. So when they were to choose from the caskets, the Prince of Morocco, what he does, he chooses the golden casket, but he doesn't find the picture. The Prince of Aragon, he chooses the silver casket. He doesn't find the picture either. So, after taking the money as a loan, Bassanio, he reaches to Belmont with his friend Graziano. Now, Bassanio, it's his turn to choose the casket. What he does, he doesn't choose the golden one, he doesn't choose the silver one, rather, he chooses the lead one, the base lead one, and in that casket, he is fortunate enough to find the portrait of Portia. And Portia was already in love with Bassanio, is really happy. So they are happily united. They are about to be getting married, and what they do, Bassanio and Portia, they exchange their rings as a token of love. At the meantime, Graziano, who has accompanied Bassanio to Belmont, falls in love with the waiting woman of Portia, whose name is Nerissa. So there is a couple in love, there is a couple in love as well. And now back in Venice, what happens? There is a news that the sea ventures of Antonio has been wrecked and all his properties are lost or damaged. So now he is in tension how he will be able to repay the loan which is taken from Shylock. And other thing, Shylock's own daughter, who is Jessica, is in love with Lorenzo, who is a friend of Bassanio and Antonio. And what Jessica does, as she knows her father very well, that Shylock will never agree in their marriage, Jessica, she elopes with Lorenzo with a huge amount of money and gold, and it makes Shylock crazy. No, he's furious, he is agitated. So what Shylock does? Now Antonio, as his money is lost, his property is lost, he can't repay Shylock, and Shylock's own daughter Jessica has eloped with Antonio's friend Lorenzo. Shylock, he is now ready to take revenge. So what he does, he goes to the court and he demands that the court should provide him Antonio and a pound of flesh from Antonio's body. So in such a situation, a messenger arrives to Belmont and informs Bassanio and Graziano, who are present there, that Shylock, he is now demanding a pound of flesh from Antonio's body. Why? Because Antonio is unable to repay the loan. When Bassanio is informed about the news, Portia, she also listens it. And after that, she gave Bassanio 6,000 ducats. The amount is double, and sends Bassanio back to Venice in order to repay the loan taken from Shylock. So Bassanio and Graziano, they immediately start their journey to Venice. When they were coming to Venice, both Portia and Nerissa, as they know Shylock is not a good person at all, they disguises themselves as a man, and Portia, she takes the name Balthazar. So when Bassanio and Graziano reaches to the court, Shylock was present there, Antonio was present there, and Shylock, he was demanding a pound of flesh from Antonio's body. But Bassanio, he was ready to give Shylock double amount, 6,000 ducats, but Shylock, he is not ready to take the money, rather he wants a pound of flesh from Antonio's body. Such is the situation. Even the Duke of Venice, who was controlling over the court, can't convince Shylock. He is not ready to take anything, any money, any property. He wants blood and meat from Antonio. So nobody can convince Shylock. Such a situation, Balthazar, who is Portia in disguise, and Nerissa, who is also disguised as a man, reaches to the court and they tell that they are lawyers and they want to plead the case of Antonio. Okay, so what happens? Balthazar, who is Portia, reads the bond from Shylock that yes, in the bond it is written that if they are unable to repay the loan, Shylock, he will take a pound of flesh from Antonio's body. So what happened? Balthazar, who is a lawyer, tries to convince Shylock, but Shylock, he is not ready to be convinced. He wants a pound of flesh. So what happened? Balthazar, after failing to convince Shylock, tell him, okay, go on, take a pound of flesh from Antonio's body. So the moment Shylock was about to be taking a pound of flesh from Antonio's body, Balthazar, he makes a plan, a witty plan. He says that, okay, you can take a pound of flesh from Antonio's body, but you can shed a single drop of blood, because in the bond, there is no mentioning about any blood. Now, Shylock, he is perplexed. He doesn't know what to do, because it's impossible to take a pound of flesh from anyone's body without shedding a drop of blood. So what happens? Shylock, now he knows that he can take any blood, his pound of flesh from Antonio's body, because he will shed blood. So he is now perplexed. He doesn't know what to do. So he agrees finally, okay, I won't take any pound of flesh from Antonio's body, give me the money. But Balthazar, he says that no, you can't take the money either, because you were trying to harm a citizen of Venice. And Shylock, he is not a citizen of Venice. So he was trying to harm a citizen of Venice. He was trying to maybe murder him. So if anyone does so, the entire Venice, the country, will seize the property of that man, and half will go to entire Venice and half will go to the man he was trying to harm. So the entire property of Shylock is now seized, half to the entire Venice and half to Antonio. But Antonio, as he is a generous person, he pleads to the court that the property should be given to Shylock, which belongs to entire Venice, and the portion that belongs to Antonio, he says that he will give it to Lorenzo and Jessica. And Shylock, he is frustrated, his plan is failed, his daughter has escaped, and his fortune, his property is also lost. So now Bassanio is really grateful to Balthazar, and he reaches to Balthazar and he has no idea that it's not Balthazar, it's Portia, and he was very grateful. And Balthazar, what he does, he, in exchange of this generosity that he has saved Antonio's life, he demands something from Bassanio. Can you guess what is that? Balthazar, he demands from Bassanio that the ring which was in his hand given by Portia, Balthazar demands that ring. Now Bassanio, Balthazar has saved Antonio's lives, so it doesn't matter how much the ring values to him. He gives the ring to Balthazar, and Balthazar and Nerissa, they disappears. Now Bassanio, Antonio, and Graziano, they are reunited in Venice. But what happens later? Antonio stays in Venice, and Bassanio and Graziano, they goes to Belmont to meet Portia and Nerissa with the good news that the life of their friends Antonio is not in any harm's way anymore. But what happens? Portia, when he sees that Bassanio has lost the ring that was given by Portia, she becomes very much furious. It was obviously an acting. Portia, she was very angry. She was mad with Bassanio. Bassanio tries to convince her, but all his attempts are in vain. Finally, Portia, she comes up with the ring, and Bassanio, he is like, oh my God, what is happening? Where have you found this ring? And finally, Portia, she reveals that she is Balthazar in disguise, and she has taken the ring from Bassanio, and now she is returning the ring to her husband, beloved husband. So the couple reunited in a moonlit night, Portia and Bassanio, Graziano and Nerissa, and thus the play comes to a happy ending. Though Antonio and Shylock, they remain in Venice, but the play comes to an end in Belmont, where we find that Bassanio and Portia, Graziano and Nerissa, they were in a romantic atmosphere, in a romantic mood. So dear viewers, that was the storytelling of The Merchant of Venice. Hope you have enjoyed it, and maybe in our next video we'll come up with another comedy of William Shakespeare. Till then, Allah Hafiz.